We here at the Sports History Network proudly partner with 26 podcasts, all revolving around the history of sports. But did you know that many of our hosts were sports history authors way before they started their shows? It's true. We've got Joe Ziemba, host of When Football Was Football, Joe Zagurski, host of Pro Football in the 1970s, Mark Morthier, host of Yesterday's Sports, Tommy Phillips, host of Lombardi Memories, and Scott Adamson, co-host of From the 55-Yard Line. All these authors have many books for you to choose from. To check them out, go to our website at sportshistorynetwork.com/sportshistorybooks. Pick up your copy today. Soundtrack provided by Kevin MacLeod of filmmusic.io.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Greetings from the Garden State of New Jersey. This is Ringside with Redding, boxing history from yesteryear, brought to you by the Sports History Network. I am your host, Frank Redding. In this segment, I am going to concentrate on 4 gentlemen who are some of the top pound-for-pound boxers who ever laced up a pair of gloves. This segment will be called the Top Pound-for-Pound Boxers of All Time Part 2. The first man I'm going to focus on is Willie Pep, Will of the Wisp, born on September 19th, 1922 in Middletown, Connecticut. Ladies and gentlemen, his record clearly indicates he was not a puncher, but his forte and bread and butter was his slickness, his defense, and his tremendous speed. He fought professionally from 1940 to 1966 and had a record of 229 victories, only 11 defeats, and 1 draw, with 65 knockouts, 241 total fights. Why, it is even told that he once won a round by not even throwing a punch. Absolutely unbelievable and stupendous. He turned pro at 17 with a record of 54-0. He won his first world title, featherweight championship of the world, on November 20th, 1942, in New York, New York. A 15-round decision over Chalky Wright. He lost his first fight against Sammy Angot in a non-title match, a 10-round decision, on March 19th, 1943, New York, New York. The war years limited his title defense activity, but he kept active, fighting regularly for the next several years, 3 title defenses. On January 8th of 1947, he was severely injured in an airplane crash. In a flight from Miami, Florida to Hartford, Connecticut, the plane went down in New Jersey. Willie spent a total of 5 months in a full body cast with 2 broken vertebrae, a compound fracture in his leg, and chest injuries. He came back and fought on June 17th of 1947, winning a 10-round decision over Victor Flores in Hartford, Connecticut. He fought his greatest rival and his Frazier to Ali, Sandy Sadler, but was KO'd by Sadler in 4 rounds the first time on October 29th of 1948 in New York, New York. He lost the featherweight championship of the world. He regained the title with a 15-round decision on February 11th, 1949, and lost to Sadler on 2 different occasions in 1950 and 1951. So he fought Sadler a total of 4 times and was 1-3 against him. Over the next dozen years or so, Willie would never regain the title again after losing it to Sadler. but he would continue boxing until 1966. Just for him to come back from a near-fatal plane crash is incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one for the ages. He mastered the technique of hit and not be hit style, and for this, he deserves high honors and recognition. The next man I'm going to cover is Harry Greb, the Pittsburgh Windmill. Another phenomenal story worth telling. He was born on June 6, 1894 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He was the antithesis of a pro athlete. His idea of training was keeping active fighting. During a career that lasted from 1913 to 1926, he had 108 wins and 49 knockouts, 8 defeats, and 3 draws. And he also had 170 no decisions. His greatest, most famous victory occurred on May 23, 1922. He won a 15-round decision over future heavyweight champion of the world Gene Tunney in New York, New York. On August 31st, 1923, in New York, New York, he won the middleweight championship of the world, winning a 15-round decision over Johnny Wilson. He had 4 title defenses, and the third title defense was against the legendary Mickey Walker. Won a 15-round decision on July 2nd, 1925 in New York, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, for this time, this was considered a super fight. He lost the middleweight championship to Tiger Flowers, 15-round decision on February 26, 1926 in New York, New York. Lost again to Tiger Flowers, August 19th, 1926. A 15-round decision. 2 months later, he died at the age of 32 on October 22nd of 1926 in surgery, complications of surgery after an automobile accident. His story is even more intriguing because in a fight against Kid Norfolk, known as William Ward, he won a 10-round decision on August 29th of 1921 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He suffered a detached retina and did not have any treatment and was blind in his right eye for the rest of his life. During the 1920s, he tried to secure a shot at the heavyweight championship, but Jack Dempsey refused to fight him. He lived 2 or 3 lifetimes in his little over 3 decades of being on planet Earth. The next man I'm going to talk about is Benny Leonard, born Benny Leiner, that's Leiner, on April 7th, 1896 in New York, New York. His career lasted from 1911 to 1932. His record was 89 wins with 70 knockouts, 6 losses, and 1 draw. And this man had 115 no decisions. Pre-Sugar Ray Robinson, he was one of the pound-for-pound great fighters that ever lived. He won the lightweight championship of the world on May 28th of 1917 in New York, New York, over Freddie Walsh, a knockout in the 9th round. He had 5 title defenses and retired as lightweight champion. He came back in 1931 and 1932, but the magic just wasn't there anymore. He was involved in several controversial fights over his career. He had the legendary Ray Orcel in his corner and headlined the first card at the new Madison Square Garden and one of the very first, in fact, championship fight at the new Yankee Stadium. A legend amongst native New Yorkers, he was referred to as the great Benny Leonard. The last man I'm going to cover in this segment, ladies and gentlemen, is Joe Louis Barrow, better known as Joe Louis. He was born on May 13th in 1914 in Lafayette, Alabama, and his career lasted from 1934 to 1951. He scored 66-3 with 52 knockouts and 69 fights. He was a 1934 National AAU heavyweight champion, and he turned pro on July 4th, 1934 with a knockout of Jack Crack in the first round in Chicago, Illinois. He had pinpoint accuracy, combination punches, and power in both hands. An absolute dynamo. With a record of 24-0, he lost his first fight to Max Schmeling in New York, New York on June 19th in 1936. He was knocked out in 12 rounds. For the time, this was a great upset. On June 22nd, 1937, 1 year later, he knocked out the Cinderella Man Jimmy J. Braddock and won the heavyweight championship of the world in Chicago, Illinois. The Joe Louis era began. The heavyweight champion at this time, ladies and gentlemen, throughout history, was the most respected man in all athletics. 1 year later, on June 22nd, 1938, he gained revenge against Max Schmeling in one of the most important fights in boxing history. He knocked Max Schmeling out in the rematch in 1 round. Much was at stake in this fight. Louis damaged Max so bad he broke 2 vertebrae in his back in a little over half a round. Louis defended the heavyweight championship of the world a total of 25 times with 21 knockouts. There has never been a heavyweight champion so dominant, devastating, or active. His title reign as heavyweight champion lasted from 1937 to 1949. Joe Louis was not just a great heavyweight, he's a man for all time and one of the great heroes that ever lived. He was also a gentleman who broke the Keller barrier. I'm going to be signing off for this segment, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say, everyone listening, be happy, healthy, and safe. From the Garden State of New Jersey, this is Ringside with Redding, brought to you by the Sports History Network. Your host, Frank Redding, signing off till next time.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
At the Sports History Network, we're all about sports yesteryear, and so we're so pleased to introduce you to Row One, an online memorabilia gallery and shop that brings your sports history to life anywhere. The Row One gallery includes over 5,200 gorgeously reproduced prints of team posters, game program covers, game tickets, advertisements, and more in baseball, pro and college football, pro and college basketball, and more. And any gallery item may be printed in a variety of sizes on wood, metal, canvas, acrylic, or poster paper. And in Row One shop, check out the thousands more of unique items with the retro and historical designs dating back to 1876, including t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, phone cases, mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com, ROW1, for access to the full Row One catalog and for gallery prints and gift items. Plus, get a 15% discount off all prints on the Row One Pictorium Gallery with coupon code SHN15. Follow the link on the show notes.
Always be
At the Sports History Network, we're all about sports yesteryear, and so we're so pleased to introduce you to Row One, an online memorabilia gallery and shop that brings your sports history to life anywhere. The Row One gallery includes over 5,200 gorgeously reproduced prints of team posters, game program covers, game tickets, advertisements, and more in baseball, pro and college football, pro and college basketball, and more. And any gallery item may be printed in a variety of sizes on wood, metal, canvas, acrylic, or poster paper. And in Row One shop, check out the thousands more of unique unique items with a retro and historical designs dating back to 1876, including t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts, phone cases, mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com, ROW1, for access to the full Row 1 catalog and for gallery prints and gift items, plus get a 15% discount off all prints on the Row 1 Pictorium Gallery with coupon code SHN15. Follow the link on the show notes.